The countdown clock blinked relentlessly. 59, 58, 57. Dr. Alex Carter knew every flicker, every second, like the pulse of his own heartbeat. Yet, each loop felt sharper, cutting deeper into his psyche. The loop wasn't just resetting time, it was tearing him apart. This time, Alex didn't rush to the control panel. He stared at the loop device in the center of the lab, its surface shimmering with a faint blue glow, almost serene in its menace. The sphere was mocking him. It was as if the machine had developed a consciousness of its own, delighting in his torment. 46. Alex reached for a small mirror on his desk, one of the few remaining objects that hadn't been smashed in his frantic attempts to break free. His reflection stared back at him, gaunt and hollow-eyed. He barely recognized the man he saw. How long had he been trapped in this hell? Days? Weeks? The lines on his face told a story of months, maybe longer. He ran his hand through his unkempt hair, feeling the pull of every tangled strand. The lab felt smaller with each loop, the walls closing in like a vice. He could almost hear them creak, inching closer, suffocating him. 35. Think, Alex, he whispered to himself. The sound of his voice, both familiar and foreign. There has to be a way out. He flipped through his old research notes, the papers crumpled and stained with coffee and sweat. Diagrams of temporal fields, calculations for quantum stabilization. None of it made sense anymore. It was all just scribbles, useless theories trapped in an endless feedback loop, just like him. Then came the sound he dreaded most, a faint, rhythmic tapping. Alex froze, his eyes darting toward the shadows in the far corner of the lab. The figure was there, almost blending into the darkness, except for its faint outline that seemed to glitch like a bad video feed. Alex's pulse quickened. He knew better than to approach it, but his curiosity burned brighter than his fear. The figure's presence had grown stronger with each reset, becoming more tangible, more defined. It was no longer content with lurking, it wanted something from him. 20. Alex stepped closer, the dim light flickering as he moved. He could feel the temperature drop, the air thickening around him. The figure's shape was clearer now, almost human, but not quite. It stood perfectly still, its form rippling as though it were trapped between this reality and another. For a moment Alex's vision blurred, and he saw not one but multiple figures, distorted, fragmented, like glimpses into a broken mirror. Each shadow moved with a slight delay, echoing his own actions. "What do you want?" Alex demanded, his voice breaking. The figure tilted its head slightly, as if considering the question. A flicker of something passed between them. A brief, sharp sensation of déjà vu. Alex felt a surge of familiarity, as if he were staring at a warped version of himself. The lab suddenly lurched, as if the entire room had been yanked sideways. Alex stumbled back, his vision blurring. The clock continued to count down, oblivious to the chaos unfolding around it. For a split second, the walls of the lab seemed to flicker, shifting between solid matter and empty voids. Alex heard faint, disjointed whispers, like echoes of conversations that never happened. 10. Alex's thoughts spiraled. Was the figure a hallucination, a byproduct of the loop, or was it something else, a manifestation of his failures, or worse, something that had slipped through the cracks in time? He reached for the emergency shutdown again. The button felt cold, unresponsive, almost mocking him with its impotence. Alex slammed his fist down, in frustration, his knuckles aching from repeated abuse. The figure stepped forward, its movement sharp and unnaturally fast. Alex's breath caught in his throat. He could feel the chill emanating from it, seeping into his bones. The figure raised a hand, as if reaching out, but just as its shadow fell over him, the clock hit 0:01. The lab reset. Alex blinked, disoriented, finding himself once more at the beginning of the loop. The figure was gone, leaving behind only the echo of its presence. The countdown had restarted, but Alex knew it wasn't just the loop that was repeating. It was evolving, growing more malevolent with each cycle. 59, 58. Alex collapsed into a chair, burying his face in his hands. He couldn't keep doing this, couldn't keep facing the same nightmare with no end in sight. But the loop had no mercy, no forgiveness. It was an unbroken circle, and he was trapped in its endless descent. As the seconds ticked away, Alex felt a new resolve harden within him. He would find a way to break this cycle, even if it meant confronting whatever lurked in the shadows, because if he didn't, he knew it was only a matter of time before the figure would reach him. And this time, it wouldn't let go.